If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. American Fiction is a 2023 American comedy drama film written and directed by Cord Jefferson in his feature directorial debut. Based on the 2001 novel Erasure by Percival Everett, it follows a frustrated novelist-professor who writes an outlandish satire of stereotypical black books, only for it to be mistaken by the liberal elite for serious literature and published to both high sales and critical praise. It stars Jeffrey Wright, Tracee Ellis Ross, Issa Rae, Sterling K. Brown, John Ortiz, Leslie Uggams, Adam Brody, and Keith David. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 8, 2023, where it won the People's Choice Award. It received a limited theatrical release by Amazon MGM Studios on December 15, 2023, with an expansion on December 22, 2023. It received positive reviews with widespread acclaim for Wright's performance. It was named one of the top 10 films of 2023 by the American Film Institute and has received numerous accolades. It received 5 nominations at the 96th Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor for Wright, Best Supporting Actor for Brown, as well as 2 nominations for the 81st Golden Globe Awards and 1 Best Adapted Screenplay at the 29th Critics' Choice Awards. Some fun trivia notes. In a 2023 interview with Esquire, director Cord Jefferson explained his approach to a key scene in the film and how the actors elevated it in unexpected ways. He'd say, "We've all seen that scene where the writer's pounding the keyboard frantically, then taking a big sip of coffee and getting back to it. That's how you depict somebody intensely writing. But I thought, we can't have that. It's tropey and silly, and it doesn't get the audience minds going. So why not have these characters manifest in front of him? When I wrote that scene, I wrote the language to be very silly. It had to be ridiculous so that everybody could see how stupid this book is and what a sham it is." Then we got Keith David and Erika Alexander, who are both such tremendous actors. All of a sudden it wasn't silly anymore. They made it seem like the book might be good. I love what the scene became in their hands. Suddenly you're questioning whether or not the book is good, which is evidence that something as ridiculous as this book could become a hit. According to an interview in the Arizona Daily Star, most of the fictional book titles of the literary award finalists were the names of bands whose members screenwriter Cord Jefferson were friends with during middle school and high school in Tucson. The family name Ellison is based on several influential writers, and each influencing aspects of Thelonious and the story. Harlan Ellison wrote speculative fiction and was known for his abrasive attitude. Ralph Ellison wrote The Invisible Man about social and intellectual issues faced by African Americans. Sheila Ellison is a writer and speaker who discusses issues regarding parenting and relationships. The photo Monk stares in at the stairway is from Drs. Keith and Mamie Clark's study, The Doll Test, which was used in the Supreme Court case Brown v. the Board of Education, which ended school segregation. The casting of Miriam Shaw as a book editor is apparently a hat tip to her similar role of a long-running TV series, Younger. When Leslie Uggams' character moves into a new home, her family brings some of her things, including a box of record albums. The albums showing at the front of the box is Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass Band's Going Places. It is not typical music of a character's interest, nor music included in the soundtrack, so the title seems a subtle hint at the character's move. Now I found this to be a superb piece of filmmaking. From this wonderfully original script and stunningly beautiful dry dialogue and delivery, to the magnificent acting performances from the whole cast, but of course in particular Jeffrey Wright and Sterling K. Brown. The film too also makes some poignant points, but also never takes itself too seriously, always allowing you to have that sort of moment of reflection and making you laugh. There's some real laugh-out-loud moments in the film, and Jeffrey Wright is absolutely superb here, playing the layered, nuanced character of Thelonious Monk Ellison with such a cool, calm ease of a veteran actor, who's an incredibly sophisticated, well-read man, but now almost has to play the role of what the white Americans dub the typical African-American stereotype, in terms of being a gangster, swearing profusely, and speaking in a different type of dialect. The film also has a sort of cynical slant on the way Hollywood portrays its films, not to mention the sort of wokeism and leftism that white America now approaches black Americans within modern American society. Overall, I think this is a brilliant piece of filmmaking, and Cord Jefferson's direction is absolutely on point, as he brings out the best in every single one of the actors, but also he captures the nuances of this perfect novel from Percival Everett, namely Erasure, and brings it to life perfectly for what we see on the screen. There's some 2 sad moments within the film as well, particularly of course the untimely demise of Thelonious' sister, played by Tracee Ellis Ross, who's absolutely brilliant in her role but unfortunately is cut off too soon, as well as Leslie Uggams as Agnes Ellison, Thelonious' mother, who unfortunately is suffering from Alzheimer's. One of the stars of the movie, though, has to of course be Sterling K. Brown as Dr. Clifford Ellison, Thelonious' younger brother, who's come out recently as gay. He has some of the best lines of dialogue throughout the film, but in the same breath he cuts a sort of tragic character, lost within himself and his own family. The character of Thelonious might almost seem upper crust, arrogant, and almost stuck up, and it's only when he sort of traces back to his roots and creates the former convict persona, of course, of this pseudonym writer, Stagg R. Lee, that he sort of discovers his own heritage and roots, but in the same breath, though, almost sells out to what white America expects of him. As I said earlier, this is a beautifully poignant, fantastically written, and superbly acted dramedy. And just the choice of certain scenes that director Percival Everett uses, for example, when Thelonious is typing up the first draft of his new book, instead of having the writer furiously typing away, he has the actual characters, of course whom the author is seeing in his own mind, appear before us on the screen, acting out his dialogue so that we can understand what he's writing. Not to mention the hilarious over-the-top ending. I just loved the creativity. One of my favourite scenes, though, has to be when Thelonious sits across a room with fellow author Santara Golden, played by Issa Rae, who has also written a book about black culture within the United States, and the two argue and debate whether they are pandering. Initially, a monk agrees, but later argues with Santara's book, calling it trauma porn, inauthentic to her African-American middle-class background. Santara argues that she extensively researched her book by interviewing voiceless people, and she was giving the market what it wants, and that it's not her fault if white readers form stereotypes from her book. It's just a perfectly put-together scene with some fantastic dialogue back and forth, and of course, once again, the acting stands out. As I said, this is a film that really blew me away from start to finish, and there's not many things I can criticize about it. From its phenomenal dialogue, fantastic acting performances, poignant yet sharp script, American fiction gets a 9.5 out of 10.